Good morning. I recently posted a video about being laid off from work at 47 years old, and today is my first official day as unemployed. I've been doing a lot of thinking, obviously, over the last months that I've known about this up and coming day. And really, I think something that's important for all of us, but especially if you've been made unemployed like I have, is that one thing that a full-time job gives you is certain responsibilities and a certain schedule that you need to stick to and follow, a certain level of discipline, if you like. So, reflecting on that a little, I decided to implement some rules for myself to make sure going forward that I stick to some kind of schedule and some kind of routine. I think having a schedule and a routine and some kind of structure is quite important, especially if you're somebody who maybe lacks a bit of self-discipline or self-motivation. I think you can hold yourself more accountable if you have some kind of set schedule that you're going to follow and a set bunch of rules for you to succeed. So that's what I've done for myself, and these are pretty basic rules, and I think that it's got really nothing to do with being unemployed. In fact, if you wanted to implement some of these rules into your own life, I think all of them would be beneficial to anybody. It just happens for me that, of course, I'm in a situation where I'm not scheduled to go to work anywhere. I don't have a specific time to get up or go to work or be at work, or a specific time to go to bed, or any of those other things that maybe often come with having a full-time job. So for me, I've set up these rules to keep myself on a level, and I'm a fairly well-disciplined person, and I'm not too self-destructive in that sense. But I just thought maybe setting these rules could also help to inspire you guys by seeing that you could adopt one or all of these rules yourself, or some kind of version of them, or your own set of rules, because I think we can all do better in something. So let me go through what I'm going to do going forward from today, and let you guys know what those things are. So one of the first rules I considered is that I need to have some sort of schedule. So you might have seen from my previous video that I filmed that one I got up at 5 in the morning and was out of the house, I think, by 5:15 or something, to start filming a video. Now, I did this for a few reasons. One was that there's not many people around at 5 o'clock in the morning, so getting disturbed or interrupted by noise or something else should be quite avoidable if you're getting up so early in the morning. But I was at a wedding this weekend, and something that made me think was I was sitting with somebody, and we were in a conversation in a group of us, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, because you get up really early," to another person that was there. And she said, "Oh yeah, 6:15." And I was sitting there thinking, well, most days when I was at work, and of course from my previous video, as you saw, I've been getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, I'd consider that fairly early. Not as early as some people, I'm sure, but for somebody who is a night person, getting up early kind of sucks. But at the same time, what it does give you is a head start on everybody else. So getting up so early, I can get multiple hours of work done before anybody else has even woken up. Now, of course, going along with that involves getting enough sleep, because that is obviously also important. So, of course, I need to have some sort of schedule where I go to bed at a certain time. But I think that getting up early, getting work done before anybody else has even opened their eyes, and outworking other people, I think that's important. If you're going to start up anything, any kind of business or any kind of project of your own, I think you need to have the discipline to say, I'm going to do this more than other people are doing theirs. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be getting up at 5 every morning, every weekday, not on the weekends. I'm going to take some kind of rest and break. But on weekdays, I'm going to get up at 5. I'm going to go to bed around 10 o'clock, something like that. And yeah, try and get enough sleep. And that really brings me on to number 2, is getting enough sleep. I think maybe you guys have the same issue if you're similar age to me. I'm 47. I never had any problems with sleep before. But in the last, I don't know, few years maybe, I've found it much more difficult to get a good night's sleep and to not be waking up in the middle of the night, or be laying there thinking about other things. And maybe partly that is due to the situation that I'm in now, where where I've been facing the fact that I'm not going to have a job in a certain amount of time. But I think it's also to do with age and maybe just the way your body is. So I think that getting a decent night's sleep, I've always been somebody who can function on not much sleep. So it hasn't been a problem for me as far as I know. But I do understand that it can have health problems, or can cause health problems going forward. If you lack sleep, there's some research being done. I think that not getting enough sleep can also be one factor that contributes to cancer. So I don't want to go there. But yeah, getting enough sleep goes in hand with the time you're going to wake up and the schedule you're going to follow. So number 1, follow a schedule. Get up at 5, go to bed at 10. Number 2, get enough sleep. Now, those 2 are basically put together into point number 1. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about both of them so that you see how I'm thinking and maybe the way that you guys maybe need to improve something to do with your sleep or your schedule, or you're laying in bed till 9 or 10, on a weekend, or whatever it is that you kind of feel guilty about and know you probably shouldn't be doing, but you still do. So maybe you guys can make some sort of change to do with your sleep or your schedule or whatever to improve your situation if you're working towards something. But anyway, let's move on to the next point. And the next point is, again, another combination of 2 factors. So my point number 2 is exercise and eat healthy. Now, I'm not any crazy health fanatic, anything like that. I do my best to eat healthy, but I have a family and obviously, busy life. So it's not always that easy to fit in a whole bunch of cooking in between. One thing I do sometimes do, though, is I batch cook, so that if I create a healthy meal, like, let's say, chicken soup, I have a good recipe for chicken soup. And so I will create that, let's say, on a Sunday and make multiple meals out of that. And then, me and my family can eat it 1 or 2 nights, maybe during the week. And then there's various frozen portions that I can put aside for other days to just basically save time. Because if you're going to cook anyway, you may as well just double the amount, because it's not that much different the amount of cooking you need to do, right? So that's something that I try to do as well. But yeah, working out. I had a fairly active job. I got to work out as part of my job if I wanted to. And I was also outside a lot, and I was able to take my dog to work with me, for example, and walk my dog around. So, yeah, I've been active, and obviously I still have the dog. I don't know where she is. She's asleep here somewhere. I'll show you sometime. But yeah, having a dog obviously keeps you active. But, if you're sitting there doing YouTube videos and editing and stuff like that, you're sitting in an office in a chair for hours on end. Right now I'm sitting in the chair talking to you guys. So I think it's important that you have some sort of active schedule. And if you don't, you need to make some sort of time for that. Now I'm going to go slightly beyond the dog walking, and I'm going to get back into my MMA style workouts that I used to do. Because I think it's important to maintain a healthy body. And of course, then, that has additional benefits of boosting energy, making you feel good with the endorphins and all this other stuff, which, when you're sitting at home alone, making videos, talking into a camera, into nowhere, and nobody's watching and all that sort of stuff, it could be quite lonely for some people. I am an introvert, I guess, by nature. So I'm quite happy with my own company. But I think it's healthy to, to have good physical health, and that's going to promote success in all the other parts of what I'm trying to do as well. So point number 3 then is no alcohol during the week. So again, you've got no schedule, you've got nothing particular to wake up for. Doesn't matter if you have a glass of wine or maybe 2, right? Well, again, I want to be fresh, I want to be alert, I want to be focused, and of course, add to that the health benefits that are quite obvious that come from not drinking too much. So I'm going to try and avoid it in the week, unless I'm on holiday or something like that. Then, I'll go to a special event of some kind. But otherwise, it's basically going to be no alcohol for me on weeknights. And again, that's something we can all implement, right? Even with a full-time job. It's nice to come home maybe after a hard day's work, sit down and say, grab yourself a glass of wine or a beer or whatever, and just relax. But is that the best thing to do? And especially, is it the best thing to do when you're in your late 40s? Probably not. So I'm going to try and skip it. If that inspires you guys to do the same, let me know down in the comments below. So on the actual work schedule then, what am I going to do? Well, I'm thinking that I'm going to try to do 3 videos per week. Now, I have, as I've mentioned before, 2 separate channels, this one, and I have a separate channel about day trading. So that one, I'm going to do 1 video on per week, and I'm going to try and do 2 videos at least per week on this channel. So that's 3 videos per week. Now, that might sound like quite a lot, and maybe it is, but I do have a full amount of time to focus on this, obviously outside of my normal family responsibilities that I have. So I'm going to try and achieve 3 videos per week. I would say that perhaps these videos are slightly easier to do, perhaps because it's me just talking to you guys and basically unscripted. The other channel is a little bit more complex. I need to do a little more research and planning for those videos to make them make sense. I largely do those unscripted as well, but I do need to go into a stock chart and stuff and make certain marks and drawings and stuff, and plan out exactly what I'm going to tell people. So hopefully I can do 1 video there, 2 videos here, and that's how I'm going to do it going forward. And the 5th and final point is that I'm not going to take a day off. Now that might sound a little off-putting to some of you, because you have to have a day off, right? You have to relax, you have to be able to switch off, you don't want to burn yourself out, all that stuff. I haven't been a person who's suffered with things like burnout. I've never experienced that myself, although I know many people do. But when I say that I won't take a day off, what I really mean is that my work schedule will look very much like a normal person's workday, although with more hours fitted in, as I'm going to get up at 5 in the morning and start. But when it comes to the weekends, now I will take time off at the weekends, but what I also want to do is do something towards the channel, whether it's just a little bit of research or watch a video on how to do something so I can improve the channel. Whatever that is, I want to do something every day towards making this a success. And that's really what I mean by no time off. I will, of course, have time off and I will relax and spend time with my family, but that will only be with the idea that I do something for this channel every single day. And that's really it. I'll list those rules on the screen again right now so you guys can just go through them and consider if there's anything there that you can take away from this. So let me know down in the comments below if any of these rules have inspired you to make any changes in your routines or your life. And will you choose to follow any of them along with me? So let me know down in the comments below if there's any rules that you follow that you think could be helpful to me or to anybody else that might watch these videos in the future. Today, as I said, is day 1 of my journey, my first day of unemployment. And this channel is going to be documenting my entire journey from basically 0 to whatever I get to. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, hit the subscribe button to see more. Okay, guys, thanks for watching today. Really appreciate your time. Take care. See you soon.